Hi, I'm Glenn Everett, Master of Machines. This episode, we take a look at Mick's awesome collection of Mopars and Chevys. Then we catch up with the guys at Outcast Garage doing their part to keep old school grassroots hot rodding alive. And don't forget to subscribe, like and comment because your valued support helps us keep this show on the road. Well, we've got another killer collection for you. We're with Mick here, the owner. Mick, 68 Dodge Charger. What a car. Tell us about this machine.
Yeah, well, Glenn, when I found the car, it wasn't quite like it is now. It was a good vehicle, a good body, but it needed a lot of work. So basically drove it back to the workshop from where I picked it up and stripped the car right down to a bare shell. The car was originally a 383, but when I got it, it had a 440 in it, 440 big block. We bought it and just left the original stroke in it, so it's 446 cubes now.
You've got the black Aeroflow in the engine bay there, looks magnificent.
I didn't want to do it all chrome and shiny. I wanted to do it all black.
Stealth.
Yeah. I wanted something that wasn't open the bonnet and all in your face with chrome.
Mick, we've got another Mopar machine here, mate. Give us a rundown.
Yeah, it's a 71 Dodge Demon, Glenn. There's not many of these in the country. I've seen two others. And when I got the car, it had a 446 pack in it, so we rebuilt that to 500 cubes, roller cam and a single 4-barrel rather than the 6-pack. Too much of a headache. And resprayed the car, left the interior very much as it was.
It's almost like a houndstooth style trim.
As far as I know, that is the original trim.
Bit of GM muscle here. Chevelle, tell us about it.
Yeah, I was always into the GM before I got into the Mopars, Glenn. I had a little excursion into Mopars, but I've started out always with Chevs. It's originally a 396 L89 car, so for those who know, it's an aluminium headed 396. Yeah, so it's got a 454 in it now, crate motor. I sourced a 396 block, had a set of aluminium heads, period correct for it. So I've put that together at 440 cubes. And it'll go back into the car, so when you open the bonnet, it'll all look right.
So I believe you've got a few projects on the go. We're about to have a look at some of these. Tell us about this machine.
Well, Glenn, this one was supposed to be running by now, and the engine does run, but as you can see, the rest of the car's not quite there. This is the vehicle that was brought over here by the American Embassy in 1956, apparently for the American ambassador's wife. We pulled it to pieces, gave it a bit more of a straighten out, put the white into it, did the dash. It's got a supercharged 383 in it, little small block, all under the bonnet as you can see. It was delivered out here, right-hand drive and badged as a Chevrolet. The original engine failed back in 1973 and the guy that owned it just pushed it into the shed and left it there, and I picked it up in about 2009. No rust repairs anywhere in the whole car. Absolutely amazing. Pristine body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yet another project. This looks like a pretty serious machine.
This is the first Chevy I ever bought, Glenn. I bought this back in 1991, so I've had it for 23 years. That's a 540 cube big block, put 537 at the wheels, Motec M84 computer fuel injection, again a Tremec TKO 600 and a rather exhilarating drive.
I bet it is.
Yeah, 411 gears in the back of it, and it raises its head pretty quickly.
Ah, so this is the other Chevy you were talking about.
Yeah, this is the high performance sister to the 65 Bel Air. So this is a 1965 SS Impala. I pulled this out of the desert in a little town called Parawan, Paragona in Utah back in May 1992. As you can see, it's not going yet. So we're 22 years down the track and it's morphed itself half a dozen different times when I've changed my mind on what I want to do with it and give it a different look and a different outcome. How it is now is how it will be finished off. It's got a supercharged 460 in it. The car's got all the right bits on it. So just a matter of finishing it off now.
Mick, yet another project and another Mopar. Tell us about this machine.
This one, Glenn, this is a original 1969 Dodge Super B. It was originally a 383 in this car. It's got a 500 cube Indy headed wedge motor in it now. It's a tough car, makes about 640 at the flywheel. So it's it goes. How they managed to pull them up when they had conventional tyres on them, you know, and 400 plus horsepower, I have no idea.
It was all about engines back then, wasn't it? And Chrysler built a great engine too, didn't they?
They did. Even with the 383 in it, this car would have been very quick in its day on a set of 195 conventional tyres. I mean, it would have been a handful. This is an original 4-speed car, original manual car. I've taken it had 4 gears in it when I bought it.
Wow.
And I asked them to...
Tyre shredder.
Yeah, tyre shredder, yeah. So we'll buff it and put it back together again when we've finished doing the bonnet, and it'll be another day when the engine comes out and the whole thing is done properly. But it's a good driver now, and I want to drive it around. So
I would too.
yeah.
So Andy, tell us about Outcast. What do you do here?
Mate, the Outcast is a car club. Been around for a few years, started with a bunch of mates. And mate, the Outcast and the Outcast Garage is basically just about guys with a like-minded interest, so cars. We all come here and we work on our cars, and the focus is on fun. We like to have a good result at the end of it, mate, but you know, we just try and enjoy what we're doing.
And you seem to have a bit of an old school theme going on here. Tell us about that. Tell us about your passion.
Yeah, well, within the club there's probably a vast interest between hot rods, muscle cars and custom cars. So we sort of have a bit of everything. Some of us are more into the early traditional hot rods, you know, stuff with flatheads, white wall tyres. Then we've got guys into, you know, your horsepower and your muscle cars, and also guys with sort of your lead sleds, so your big chop top 40s, 50s cars, predominantly American. But we also do a bit of Aussie stuff, you know, the early Holdens.
So Andy, tell us about the Tudor here behind us.
Yeah, it's sort of a hot rod build that happened by accident. I had a mate that was selling an original 32 chassis. Sort of didn't need the project, but it was an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. So picked up the chassis and planned to just store it for a little while. One thing led to another. Had a mate that had a 31 Ford Tudor body in storage. It was a little bit rough, a little bit banged up, full of bullet holes. I knew it was sitting there and sort of rang him and asked him what he wanted to do with it. He just so happened to want to sell it. A deal was done, and we sort of dragged the body back here to the shed, the Outcast Garage, and the boys all come around the day we picked it up, and it was sort of about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. About 6 of us here, we looked at each other and thought, well, let's chop it up, cut the floor out, cut the roof, tack it up, and let's make this thing look like a hot rod. It's actually got an upgraded flathead from a 32, but it's all 1940s period correct.
The theme of Outcast is we keep the tradition with old school hot rodding, custom and muscle cars alive. I was born after that era, but I'm going back to that, which was where it all started. And I think that's the kind of stuff we enjoy more so than what we see a lot up here in Sydney with the high-tech stuff. We keep away from that, but it's keeping that old school tradition alive.
And tell us about the Chevy.
So the Chevs, it's a 1941 Chevy that we bought here in Sydney. Last year we decided we needed to chop the roof on it. We took out 5 inches with Darren Rowe doing all the fabrication work on it. We extended the rear window a little bit. The silhouette of the car is awesome. It's got a 378 Oldsmobile Rocket 88 motor. We bought a J2 intake with triple carbs, so that's going to go in the next 12 months. We should have it going.
Tell us about the Ute.
The Ute, it's a HK Holden Ute that we picked up through a mate of ours who got it from Melbourne. Just doing the rough sort of rat look on it. Gonna keep it low to the ground, make it cool. Basically that's it, just cheap ratter. That's it, that's what it's about.
And the Charger, tell us about the Charger.
The Charger, I bought that when I was 22. Charger's my dream car. I've always envisioned the car flat black and tubbed, so after I blew the motor up on Boxing Day last year, decided that's it. We cut the car up. It's got 18-inch wide rubber underneath it now, building the motor at the moment and getting the cage put in it, so shouldn't be too far away.
And what's the other car you've got here as well, a red one?
The other car, that's my brother's. It's a 1960 Pontiac Bonneville. It's got a 64 400 cube GDO motor in it. Runs a 3-speed automatic. It's airbag, the car sits on the deck. It's a killer car.
Thanks for watching, and we'd really appreciate it if you'd like and comment on this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell because there's a lot more content coming your way.